In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.
Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. You're in the tech zone, and so happy to have you with me. I wanted to talk about a subject that maybe you or your family members are familiar with, and it has to deal with parking. What parking am I talking about? I'm talking about disabled or handicapped parking. If you have a placard or a license plate, and that gives you access to park in specifically designed parking spaces when you go out, you go to restaurants, but hopefully during this pandemic, you're not going out many places because it's not safe for us to do so. But if you are, how do you feel when someone pulls in that spot that doesn't have access to do so? It can be frustrating. It can be it can make you mad, especially if you need that space. You can't walk. You have difficulty moving around and somebody's in that space. Well, there is a person who created an organization to raise awareness when people are doing this, and they use social media to help spread the cause, to really educate those who may not understand how serious of an inconvenience that this could be. And I'm so happy that she decided to join me on the show and talk about why she created this and how she's able to raise awareness. And I'm so happy to have with me right now this wonderful individual. Her and her husband are really spreading awareness out there and using social media to do it. Rebecca Minna. She's the organizer of For the Love of Parking. Rebecca, what's happening? How are you?
What's up? How you doing? Nice to see you.
I'm doing fantastic. Great to see you again. I know we've been trying to get this together, and I'm so glad that we have this opportunity now. Before I brought you on, I was letting everyone know just about how you are raising awareness for a great cause and how social media has allowed you to shed some light on a serious problem, but you do it with a little comedic twist, but it's very, very serious. And Rebecca, for the ones out there who are viewing and watching, can you give them a rundown of what For the Love of Parking and Access is about and why you created it in the first place?
All right. So For the Love of Parking is a community of people creating awareness about accessibility with compassion and just a slight bit of sarcasm. So I come from a place of care. I don't want to ever make anybody feel bad, because what I have gathered in my experience is that most people are just unaware of how their actions affect people with disabilities. And if you think about it, it's understandable. They don't live the life that we do, and our life is incomprehensible to most people. So I just create awareness. The mission is to create better access for those with disabilities in the end, through making others aware of their actions that impede it. I have long-term goals, and one of them is to generate a diary of need through social media. So I'm the social media feed, I'm filling it with full of things that impede our access, so that eventually I could take it to Congress and say, here's the problems. I'd like to fix this, this, and this. I believe the ADA is amazing. They did a great job, but I think we're at the point where we need some adjustments.
And I'm glad you said that, Rebecca, because we know coming up this month, 30th anniversary of the ADA. And I remember I got injured 1993, so 27 years ago. So the ADA was kind of like in its infancy to what we see it today. But I'm glad you brought that up, because we who are part of the community, we have to continue to educate, continue to let people know the needs out there. And what made you want to do this? Was this something that you saw with your husband and you were like, you know what, I'm going to tell the world about this, but I'm going to do it in a way that they won't get too offended by it.
Okay, so it was a succession of events. We had the great opportunity to live in a foreign country. When I lived in that foreign country, I started to really be very grateful for the access that we have in our country, because where we lived was third world and it was horrible. But what that did is it also brought light when I actually came home some of the problems that we still have even after all of the advocacy by the ADA. Then one day I was out with my husband and we had a situation where he was almost run over. It's a long story, but he was almost run over by an impatient parker, somebody who wanted to get into a parking space that we were using to let him out with our van ramp. And we were using another parking space to let him out with the van ramp because we could not find a hashed area handicap spot because they were all taken. So when that happened, it just sparked a fire in me and I just started running around and telling everybody. And it's just in my nature to be compassionate. So I think that's why I come from a compassionate place. My belief is that you get way further with sweet than you do with sour.
That is so true. That is so true. And that's one of the things, like, whenever I talk to ones who are part of the disabled community, when I do maybe some pep talks or some speaking to or motivating to, I try to let them know it's when we're having a discussion with ones that we need something, there's no need to always turn it up to 10. You know, you can start off at 1 and 2 and have a civil conversation because people will listen. And that's one of the things that we find out when we be in this community for a long time, Rebecca, that people will listen if we treat them with dignity and respect, and they're more apt to really listen to our message and definitely help us out. Now, if you can, just to backtrack a little bit, can you share with us about your husband and how he became disabled, if you don't mind doing that? Can you share that with us?
Of course, I don't mind. I think that sharing, just like I do with advocacy, is important. We are an open book. What happened to him prior to knowing me, he had been celebrating his college graduation with his family on a family trip to Lake Mead. He dove off the back of a pontoon boat into deep enough water, and just his spine subluxated in the C4, C5 area. We think it was something that happened prior to in his football career that made that area weak, because he didn't hit anything, he didn't break anything, and he is an incomplete injury. It just created a bruise on his spine, C4, C5. That was in 2004.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that, because when you talked about the subluxation, same thing happened to me with an automobile accident. And I know when I met you and your husband at the Abilities Expo, you guys are totally awesome. And
thank you.
And let's let the world know your husband's name again. He's an awesome guy.
His name is Damian Minna. You can check him out on Instagram. He wrote a book, and his book is called All Different Directions. And so his handle is at All Different Directions. He's a cool dude. I mean, as I said earlier, I met him 4 years after his accident, and there was no chair involved. He's amazing. And the person that he is amazing. And then it was like we met, we were together for probably 6 months, and then that was it. We've been together for 11 years now. And
that's the cool thing about it, Rebecca. You are such a beautiful person. I know you and my wife connected together at the Abilities Expo, because you both are wives of cool quads, which is
I handed her one of those forms, the WAGs of SCI. Great group.
Yeah, which is awesome, and some other good friends of ours, Apcar and Jeanette too. And this is one thing that I really appreciate about ones like yourself and my wife, how you did not allow the disability to run you away from a relationship. Relationships are hard as it is, but you factor in a disability, there's some challenges out there, but the fact that you and others out there are doing it, you guys really, really deserve a pat on the back what you guys are doing, Rebecca. You guys are really awesome.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you recognizing that. I have never been one to pretend this life is seriously difficult. It does add a lot of stress to a relationship. But I love him beyond everything, and it's worth it.
Yeah, it is. And we thank you guys so much. And Rebecca, what has been the most challenging part of getting the message the message out there when it comes to For the Love of Parking, and what have you done to really overcome those different challenges?
The challenges, I don't find there to be many challenges, and I think it's because I absolutely love what I'm doing. I am passionate about it. I think that when you have a passion behind something, the drive is automatically there. Trying to get people on board, I think, has been the hardest. I mean, everybody believes in the cause. They all know there's an issue. But I think a lot of people are afraid to do what I do. So I think I had to pivot it a little bit and show people, like, you don't have to go slap stickers on people's cars and confront people like I do. But there are other things you could do, like take an incognito photo, send it to me, tell me what happened. I'll write the story and we'll share. And then we're creating the diary of need together. So I think, and to encapsulate the answer to the question, the hardest challenge so far has been to letting people know that they don't have to call people out. There are other ways that you can be involved.
And here's the thing, too, when we look at how technology exists today that allow us to get our message across, how difficult would it have been if we never had social media, we never had the internet, we never have been able to connect? How much of a challenge would that have been without these platforms that we have?
I have so much respect for the pioneers of the ADA, because they literally had to do everything in a diary, a literal book, write every incident that they experienced down in a book. They had to charge, and protest and all of these things. And we're so lucky that we have social media, because I am doing a lot of work. I'm going out there, I'm filming, I'm confronting people, I'm doing a lot of things. But in comparison, having social media has been the best thing ever. I wish they had it. They probably would have gone with their cause much faster and gotten ahead much faster.
And that's one thing that I've known, being in the disabled game for 27 years. When I first got injured, a lot of great organizations out there kind of stalled because, you had to have money to operate. You didn't have the internet or social media to help the cause, and a lot of great ones kind of went by the wayside. But now, because of this technology, having great organizations like yours and others out there being able to champion this message for a great cause is truly, truly, truly awesome. So before I let you go, anything else out there you'd like to let the audience or the viewer know just about For the Love of Parking, or anything else that we didn't get a chance to cover?
100%. So go over to the For the Love of Parking. It's at For the Love of Parking on Facebook and Instagram. Join us. Send me photos. If you want, I create these stickers. You don't have to put them directly on cars, but what it does is it says on here, you've been featured on For the Love of Parking. Log on to find out why. And the person who has created the violation or the impediment in access logs on to For the Love of Parking, and I write them what I call a love letter. So if you don't want to actually do this, you don't have to, but I can mail them to you if you do. Or you can just send me a photo and I'll write the love letter for you, and we'll get this message out there. We'll create this diary of need together and get some of our laws adjusted and create awareness to everybody so that they don't park in our spots anymore, so they don't block our access areas anymore. Just hop aboard.
I love it. What has been some of the response when ones have seen that they've been featured? Were they repented? Were they shocked? Were they angry? What's been some of the feedback you've gotten?
You probably won't believe me when I tell you I haven't had one negative incident. Hundreds of times I've talked to people, 100 times I've featured them. I haven't had one negative incident. Usually people are very remorseful. They say most of the time is, I had no idea.
Wow. That is so cool that we have people out there, once you kind of chin check them and let them know what's up, they listen, they're not angry, and they definitely comply. Well, Rebecca, great catching up with you. Please tell my man Damon I said what's up. He's an inspiration. Tell him to keep on doing what he's doing. And why don't you give that website out or that information one more time so people can check you guys out?
Yeah, absolutely. So fortheloveofparking.com. There's a lot of things on there. You can buy a t-shirt to help support the cause. That just helps me keep creating these stickers and out there taking pictures. at For the Love of Parking on both Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to check out my amazing husband and grab the book that he wrote about our adventures in Indonesia, it's called All Different Directions. And he is on Instagram as All Different Directions. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Great having you. Looking forward to catching up with you guys down the line.
Yeah, you too.
A huge shout out to Rebecca for joining me and talking about For the Love of Parking. And hopefully that you were able to be educated on the cause and why it's so important to, watch where you're parking and make sure you leave the preferred parking to us. And I also love the fact of her opening up about being married to a quadriplegic, just as my wife is married to me, and some of the real challenges that we definitely face. But we appreciate her and women like my wife, Ray, who took on the challenge and married us. In spite or despite? I don't know. English majors help me out. In spite of our physical challenges and our disabilities, we really appreciate having her on. All right, let's talk a little bit about cybersecurity and ways that we can protect ourselves. We'll talk about that subject and more right after these messages.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul, Amadeus, laying in the tech zone. Wow.